guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Alejandra and I'm really excited to be here with you guys once again this week. Today we're going to talk about how to reset your English learning routine in 2020. Last week I made a video on how to get back on track with your language learning in 2020, and so I will be sure to link it in the description box below. But I basically talked a lot about the mindset behind language learning and how to actually approach it so that you don't get stuck and so that you can actually build consistency. And so today I'm actually going to be delving more in depth into how to practically reset your routine. So I'm going to be giving a couple of examples for various language learners basically, but it's going to be helpful for beginners, intermediate level students, and advanced level students as well. So be sure to just take notes and let's get started. Okay, step number 1, decide what your first monthly goal will be, okay? So in order to do that, if you are a beginner or an intermediate level student, you should ask yourself this question. What types of conversations will I want to be able to have by next month? And so let's say that you want to be able to talk about your past travel experiences by next month. That is a great goal because it's specific, travel past experiences, as well as having an end date, which is next month. So that's very good. On the other hand, if you are an advanced level student, a really good monthly goal could be, I want to improve my pronunciation of English vowels by next month. Step number 2, let's say that you chose the beginner/intermediate level example, right? So you're going to make a list of words that you would potentially need to learn in order to be able to have those types of conversations. For example, if you're going to talk about traveling, then you can probably learn suitcase, passport, plane, flight, delay, whatever it is, right? But write them down so that you know that those are the types of words that you would need to learn. You are also going to make a list of potential grammar, tenses, you know that you would potentially need to learn. So you said past experiences, right? So you probably learn past simple, past continuous, present perfect continuous. So actually just do some research on past tenses in English, right? So that you can have a list of both, so vocabulary as well as the tenses. If you are an advanced student and you chose the pronunciation goal, then make a list of all the English vowel sounds that are available. There are 12. Step number 3, here we're going to talk about the material resources that you need to use. If you are the beginner or intermediate student, you can think about different maybe grammar books that can help you to understand the tenses in English, the past tenses in English, or you can just literally look them up online. Past simple, this is how you use it, past continuous, etc., right? Just so you can kind of have an understanding of how they work, right? In order to expose yourself to the language, you need to decide on 1 or 2 TV shows or podcasts that you enjoy listening to in English. And this is important because here you're deciding exactly what you're going to be using in order to achieve your goals. So you already have your grammar covered with your books or your online resources. Now you need to have your listening covered. And so that's why I was saying TV shows or podcasts. But choose 1 or 2. Don't give yourself a lot of, options, because if not, you're going to end up not choosing anything in particular. And so choose 1 or 2. And then in terms of your speaking, because you need to speak the language, by the way, find 1 friend you can speak English with. On the other hand, for the advanced student, so you already have the list of sounds that you compiled in the previous step, and now you're just going to try to look them up and make a list of resources where you can actually understand each of those sounds. So whether they're websites or maybe books that talk about phonetics and things like that, that could be totally worth it. I think honestly websites are great because they're easy to access and they can help you to understand just sounds in general. So videos, anything like that counts. But remember, for each of the sounds, and you can just literally compile those resources on a Word document so that you don't have to just go back and do the research all over again. By the way, if this is your case and you are the advanced student, I have a free resource for you that you can download in the description box below, and it's basically a free guide that walks you exactly through how English pronunciation works so that you can take your English to the next level. So be sure to grab that down below for free. Step number 4, we are going to break down your goal into 4 weeks because a month has 4 weeks usually, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the beginner/intermediate student. And so you would do something like this. Week 1, if you're the beginner student, you would say something like, I'm going to focus on the past simple tense. I'm going to try to learn it and understand how it works. And I'm also going to make sure that I use it in speech, whether it is talking with that friend that I already talked to, to help me practice, or just by myself in front of the mirror. That's what I'm going to be focusing on. I am also going to try to learn 1 or 2 vocabulary words, travel words, from the ones that I talked about in the first couple steps, so that I can make sure that I talk about my travel experiences. I am also going to try to make sure that I incorporate those travel words that I have learned or that I am going to be learning with my friend or with myself, in front of the mirror. If you are the advanced student, you can do something like, I'm going to focus on the first 3 sounds and I'm going to try to internalize them well, and I'm also going to look up words that contain these 3 sounds so that I can understand how these sounds work in general in English, right? And so look up those words, focus solely and exclusively on those 3 sounds. Don't try to, do everything, because if not, it's not going to work out. And so that is going to be your focus. And for both beginner, intermediate, and advanced, you can also say, and also I'm going to do 10 minutes a day of a podcast or a TV show. Week number 2, if you're the beginner or intermediate student, you can say something like, I'm going to focus on the past continuous, and I'm going to try to understand the difference between the past simple and the past continuous, and I'm going to make sure that I practice it with my friend or with myself in front of the mirror. If you are the advanced level student, then you can continue on with the 3 next sounds. So you already focused on 3 sounds, the first 3. Now you can continue with other 3 sounds that you can focus on this week. Once again, looking up words that contain these sounds. And for both, you can do 10 minutes of podcasts and TV shows just a day, so you can get your listening and your ear flowing. Week number 3 for beginners and intermediate level students. Let's say you're going to focus now on the present perfect, which is another past tense, and you're going to try to understand the difference between this one, past continuous, and past simple. By doing this, you're making sure that you continue reinforcing the knowledge of what you have learned in the past weeks, as well as incorporating new knowledge. You're also going to try to incorporate 2 or 3 words or new words, whether they're actual objects that you need for traveling, or even verbs. You can learn the verbs as well so that you know exactly what to say. And for the advanced level student, you can continue on with 3 new sounds. It's crazy because by this week you will have already learned 6 plus other 3 sounds that you're learning. And so focus on those new 3 sounds, plus of course 10 minutes of podcasts or TV shows every day. Try to make sure that you are practicing language awareness. That is, whenever you listen to your podcasts, try to think about, I feel like I've heard this sound, or I feel like I've been able to understand this specific word that contains that specific sound. If you do that for 10 minutes a day, your listening comprehension and your understanding of those sounds will improve so much, and it will also help you to put them into practice as well, because you will be able to realize in the moment, oh, this is a sound, and it's really important. Week number 4 for the intermediate or beginner student. You can say, I am going to review everything that I have learned in the past 3 weeks, and I'm just going to get ready to be able to meet my goal of talking about past travel experiences by, next week, or just, whenever you set your goal by. right? For the advanced level student, you can continue with 3 new sounds, trying to find words that contain these sounds, and you can also focus on reviewing as well as making sure that you are putting these new sounds into practice by just simply deciding to speak with these new sounds incorporated. All right, we have broken down our goal into our 4 weeks. We know exactly what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be doing it, when we need to get it all done by, basically. And now what we need to do is to look at our schedules, okay? Usually schedules can be a little tricky, and so it's always important to just block some time specifically for learning. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move on to this new step in which we're going to just have a look at our calendars and ask ourselves a couple of questions so that we know when is best for us to improve in our language learning. So the first question in terms of time is, when is usually the best time for you to learn things in general? Is it in the morning before breakfast, in the afternoon? Is it before dinner, right? So just try to get to know yourself a little bit more and choose a time that actually is helping you to improve. If you don't necessarily know when, that's okay, just try it. Just try to choose a specific schedule, let's say before breakfast every day, so that you can just try it. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. You can always rearrange your time and schedules and everything. And this is something that I want you guys to know, which is that it is absolutely flexible. You are the one who's learning a language, and it's not you adapting to your schedule. It is adapting your schedule to you and your life and your goals and etc. just in general, right? So please know that all of this is just flexible. This is just helping you to create a little bit of organization and structure so that you can move forward. Another question that you should ask yourself is, when is it actually realistic for you to implement some learning for your language, basically? And so just think about it. Maybe the morning, even though you learn best in the morning, maybe it's not realistic for you because you have too many things going on, or in the afternoon or in the evening. And so just try to think about what is actually realistic, right? And so there might be days where it's realistic for you to do some learning in the morning instead of the afternoon, and vice versa. And so if that is the case, let's say that you learn best in the mornings, but you are not able to study in the mornings on Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay, then just try to study in the mornings on Mondays and Tuesdays, right? And so have a look at your schedule. What are the things that you have in place that you have to get done no matter what, so that you can adapt your language learning to that specific schedule that you already have set. Now, for effective language learning, I highly recommend that you dedicate at least 3 or 4 times a week to study for 30 minutes, like to implement real actual study, understanding the grammar, understanding the vocabulary, learning, practicing, speaking, etc. And just a little bit of time every single day to devote to complete actual exposure, whether it's listening. I recommend that you obviously speak, because languages are meant to be spoken, but that if you do that every single day, at least the practice and the exposure you will have covered. And that is really important, because if there is one day where you just cannot, meet your studying schedule or whatever, then you at least have that exposure, that time exposure that you decided you were going to be able to have, let's say, during your commute, right? And the last thing that I want to mention about schedules is that try to use the time that you already have, that you know that you don't necessarily need to do anything. For example, commuting to the office or to someone else's house, or just simply going to the park because you know that you're going to be there or something. Just try to use that time already to expose yourself to the language. You don't necessarily have to create new time, make new, we only have 24 hours. And so either you redistribute your time a little bit better, or you can just simply use the time that you already have. If you know that you always need to wash the dishes, then just use that time as you wash the dishes to listen to a podcast, and there, boom, you have 10 minutes of exposure, right? So please use your time well. Okay guys, this is it for the planning, and I just want you to know that these goals that I have talked about are simply for illustration purposes, and so you don't necessarily have to choose these goals that I have set. I just wanted to show you how you could do it, but you are more than welcome, and in fact I highly recommend that you choose your own goals because they're going to be aligned with your desires, with your hopes and dreams for your language learning, and that is just incredibly powerful. So just wanted to say that just in case, but feel free to choose your own goals. Just make sure that they are specific, realistic, and that they have an end date so that you know if you are achieving those goals, that means that you are improving, right? And so it's just a way to measure your progress. All right. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it and that it's been helpful. If you have liked it, please click that like button to let me know, and also subscribe to my channel here below so that you don't miss the next videos. I hope you have a great week, and I cannot wait to see you guys next time.